Today, we're going to discuss Max Weber's theoretical categories of social action. I hope that you had a chance to look over the reading. In formulating his approach to sociology, Weber was responding to the ideas of his time. He was not interested in structural forces or natural laws explaining human societies. Instead, he was interested in the subjective meanings human actors attach to their actions. According to Weber, everything that we can observe people doing socially, they do with a purpose in mind. In other words, all action is intentional, and it is directed toward other people. And this is why the sociologist must consider the social context in which people act. There is an exception, though, and that is the person who is insane, and thus behaving without a socially understood purpose. For now, I want to be clear that Weber's approach differs from classical economic models of human behavior that narrowly define rational behavior as using the most rational means to obtain one's self-interest, particularly material self-interest. It's not that Weber was uninterested in economics, quite the opposite. He was trained in economic history, but he saw things a little differently. And the way he spelled this out was through distinguishing different types of purposeful social action. Can anyone recall how Weber characterized the different types of social action?
Well, he did talk about people being goal-oriented, the way they use means to achieve ends.
Okay, you're touching on his idea of purposeful rational action, or goal-oriented action, as you say. And yes, he is referring to the rational choices of means and ends. This type of social action is closest to the standard economic view of the self-interested individual. A good example is the engineer who builds a bridge by rationally choosing the most efficient means possible to achieve his goal of building the bridge. He aims to build the strongest bridge at the lowest cost in the shortest period of time. That's an example of purposeful rationality. Yet, Weber observed there are other forms of social action, all equally meaningful to the actor, and important to the sociologist. Take value-oriented rationality for an example.
That would be like the monk that he talked about, the one who would live a very simple life in the woods to obtain salvation. Right, and didn't Weber say that he also used rational means to attain his goal of holiness? But that the goal wasn't necessarily rational. Not everyone believes in holiness. That's a religious idea that's not necessarily shared by all people.
Very good. The monk is an excellent example of value rationality because he is striving for a goal which in itself may not be rational, but which is pursued through rational means within an ethical, religious, or other moral context. The rational means are self-denial, in his case eating simple food and living a very modest life, and he does this because he believes these actions will help him attain his goal of holiness, a goal that is shared by his religious community and perhaps some members of the broader society. So now, Weber had a third type of social action as well, which he called affective action, affect being another word for emotion. Okay. Then affective action refers to social action anchored in emotions rather than the rational weighing of means and ends.
Sounds like my roommate. She only decided to go to this university because her boyfriend went here. She's so in love.
Okay. Her decision was emotionally meaningful to her, and thus purposeful. Moving on then, what about the final type, traditional action?
I think Weber said traditional action was guided by the past. An individual will look to what she sees as traditional, and that's the way she will try to do things.
Can you think of an example?
Well, I guess I did that when I chose to go to this college. My dad, my uncles, my mom, lots of their friends, they all went here. And, I think it was expected that I would go to school here too. It's a good school and all, but I never really looked at other options.
In Weber's eyes, that could be traditional action, so we can see that practicing Weber's sociology is not as clear-cut as simply studying society as if all people were making rational decisions all the time.